disappear, and you're like, ah, the fond memories.
What? You're gonna disappear?
You never know. Oh, flavors.
Oh no.
Okay. I just want to double check we're recording
Okay.
before we go on a whole tangent.
So you say you're gonna disappear. Where are you gonna disappear to?
I don't know. Maybe Europe.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, my favorite band's British. I've grown up watching British YouTubers. I'm like, I love the Beatles. I'm like, maybe I just belong in Europe.
Wait, your favorite band's British? I don't know this.
Yeah. They're called the Struts.
Wait, I think I did know that. you mentioned the Struts.
They're a British band. I saw them last year.
What?
At a really tiny venue. I was first row.
Oh my god.
Yeah, they're so good.
Wait, are they like, what decade are they from?
No. Like right now, like they've been around for probably 15 years, but they're like probably, I'm going to guess he's like 38, the lead singer.
Oh.
Yeah.
Huh.
I think they're performing right now with Led Zeppelin.
What's the genre?
Like rock. Yeah. Like full on like punk, I guess a little punk, but mainly rock. It's British.
Check them out.
They're so good, and yeah, I got to meet them, and they signed my set list I got from the stage.
Oh my gosh.
They're super cool. Last time I saw them at this really tiny venue in Royal Oak.
Oh wow, that's so close.
Like right by Citizen Yoga. So, how's your life been?
It's okay. I feel like I'm always at a crossroads. Do you feel that way?
I feel like that's just being in your 20s.
Yeah.
At least for a lot of people. What I don't get is the people who are like, I'm 23 and I'm going to have babies.
Dude, that kind of scares me.
Like, what?
I'm like, whoa. You and I are a different breed of person.
I'm like, I'm 28 and I can't take care of myself.
I know, I am 20. I'm 20 and I am a baby. I am my own baby. Yeah, I do feel like a baby. And I feel like, unfortunately, with each year, I'm just getting younger in my mental age.
It's like, so there's this lyric in this song I love by Shabuzi.
Who?
Shabuzi.
I literally, wow, I'm so out of touch.
I think you'd know, if I played you one of his songs, you'd probably know it.
Yeah.
But one lyric he says in one of my favorite songs he does is, it's getting harder and harder to act my age. Like the older I get, the more hard it's getting to act my age.
Ugh. Oh, that is how I feel.
I think that's what you're saying.
Yeah. I don't know, every year I'm just kind of like, well, shouldn't I like figure it out by now? You know, like, shouldn't I know what I'm doing?
How can we be expected to in a world where we can see all the options on our phone?
That, I think, is actually the biggest problem.
So then we just get overwhelmed with the possibilities.
Yeah. Dude, that reminds me, I learned this term back in college years, which is like, who is that person? You know?
Oh, yeah.
But I learned this one term in college. I think it was multifrenia or something. Mm-hmm. Don't quote me on it because, you know, I've been away from academia for a while now, so I don't really know what the exact term is. But just like this idea where it's like everyone's so connected now. Mm. And everyone's so accessible, right? Through our phones, through the internet, chat rooms, that inevitably, as a human, whoever you interact with, you kind of take on their characteristics a little bit, yeah. Right? You are influenced by people. And
depending how close you are, I think, to them.
Right. Think about these people that we watch on YouTube. You can literally watch them every single day if you wanted to. And you could talk to someone in a chat room every single day if you wanted to.
You know what's weird? Now that you say that?
Yeah.
So there's like this YouTuber I've watched for 15 years.
Yeah.
And I've watched them be my age, like be young, and then get with their partner, and then move into a house, and then move into another house, and then get a dog, and then have kids.
Is this Jenna Marbles?
No.
Oh no, she's gone.
You know, it's a British couple, but it's kind of what you're saying, where it's like, I've watched them every day for like 15 years, and I've like literally watched their lives.
Yeah.
But I don't know them at all.
But you get attached to them.
Yeah, like I feel like I know them.
Right? Then this multi-phrenia concept is like, you don't know who to be anymore because you're so close to so many people, or you're just like, you have so much access to so many different types of living styles and people of all different walks of life. And if you're never alone, how can you really even think about the way you feel about things, right? Because you kind of just adopt how other people think and feel about things.
It's like,
so you lose all sense of self. You have a very fractured sense of self.
it's like I saw this video where someone started off showing a video of a girl like doing her makeup.
Yeah.
And then expanded and showed more and more girls. Like the whole screen was filling up with girls doing the same thing, like using the same products and talking in the same way. And like, yeah, it's like you become a carbon copy. And you see kids, especially the younger generations.
Yep.
They're all like Sephora girlies. Like,
yeah. Dude, if you're 8 years old, do you really need $30 toner?
no.
What's happening right now? You have so much collagen. What are you talking about?
And when I was 8, I was like blowing up Barbies.
Oh, yeah, exactly. You're melting Barbies.
And that's the thing, is we're so overstimulated with just everything coming at us at once. It's like, how are we possibly supposed to choose something unless we disconnect?
Right.
From the greatest drug of them all, which is social media at this point.
Yeah. Also, the other huge problem with social media, and this is part of the thing that makes me feel very lost in my 20s, is we know it's a highlight reel, but we also forget in the moment.
Yeah.
But of course, everyone on the internet's going to be posting like their best moments, not their worst lows.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, some people do, to be very vulnerable, but generally speaking, people are posting their highlight reels, right? So then you see someone do something really amazing. Say, for instance, they do a really cool fitness move. And then you think, oh man, I can do that. I want to do that too. And yes, you can. But also, they're not showing you how much time it took for them to develop that. You basically see the end product.
Yeah.
Right?
You're like, how is it so easy for them?
Right.
But you don't know if it was.
You don't know if it was. So then we just have this instant gratification through social media and the internet now, where, oh, if I want to do a handstand, I don't have to learn how to do a handstand. I can just watch someone else do a handstand. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, no, it's instant gratification over long-term, like, dopamine. Like, it's short.
Yeah. So then
Cheap.
It's exactly. But if I want the satisfaction of doing it, I would do it every day. Right? But it might take a long, long time. But if no one on the internet actually films the entire process of, this is my life, documented. Oh, these are the mundane days you don't see. Oh, these are all of the different setbacks that I had in my life. Then, you know what I'm trying to say?
The people that do get canceled, because that's another thing, is you're not allowed to be human.
Wait, do people get canceled for that? Because that's really stupid.
Well, what I'm thinking, I mean, I think people get canceled for making mistakes. People get,
Yes.
you know, and being human and fumbling or saying the wrong thing. And that's why everyone feels the need to be so polished.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm watching this show right now, and it can be a cringy show at times.
What is it?
Vampire Diaries.
Oh, really?
I'm watching Vampire Diaries.
Why didn't you just say that? You're like, there's this show, like this mysterious show that I'm watching.
But something that I've noticed the most about it, it's very interesting, because it's such a moment in time that was captured.
Yeah.
And it's very interesting because there's a bunch of up-close shots on the actors' eyes.
Oh. That's the vibe.
You can see the bumps in the makeup and everything.
Oh.
Nowadays, that would never happen. Like, it's going to be
Everything's
airbrushed. Yep. It's going to look super perfect. And I'm like, that's when it felt more
Real.
like actors just felt like people. And it felt more real and raw, even though it is a scripted show.
Yeah.
Where nowadays, yeah, everyone's a copy of each other. Everyone feels like they have to be polished, be perfect at at all times.
Yeah, that's
It's
very
a different
true.
era.
That's very true. K-pop stars, they airbrush all their faces for all of the pictures that they take of them on stage, all the videos, right, that they record. And yeah, you just kind of forget that people have pores.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, all the time. With all the filters online, I see these girls' skins all the time, and I'm like, dang.
How are you poreless?
Yeah. I'm like, I wish.
Right? And you look at yourself and you think, wow, I have pores.
But then you realize sometimes if you're a conscious person, you can realize how fake, it's just filters.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, it feels like we're having a global awakening, but at the same time, we're all just overstimulated all the time.
Yeah, I do feel that's the issue. I am jealous of people who don't have smartphones. I wish I was born in the 80s or something.
I genuinely don't want mine anymore. I'm so dead ass. If I could just go live in the woods on a compound with the people that I care about. Like, I'm so over it.
I just don't think humans were built to take on this kind of connectedness at all times.
No. And same with, we weren't built to see ourselves as much as we do.
Oh yeah.
See our own faces.
That's just the story of Narcissist. You know that story? That myth?
No.
It's a Greek myth. This beautiful boy in the ancient times, he was obsessed with himself. I mean, his name is how you get the word narcissist.
Okay.
Yeah, but his name is spelled Narcissus, like Cuss. Anyways.
Oh, okay.
He was so obsessed with himself, he would just gaze at himself in the river all day long, and then one day he fell in and drowned.
No.
Yeah.
So the message is like,
he just fell in love with himself.
oh, and he got so close.
Or you know what? Actually, I think maybe I messed up that story. Let me start again.
I'm trying to figure out
Okay.
the message.
Yeah, I think I messed it up. I think he actually stared at himself through like a bronze, like a polished piece of bronze. Because back then they didn't have like mirrors the way we did, so they would use like polished metal to look at themselves. So there's this piece of polished bronze thing. Are you cold? It's kind of chilly.
I'm always cold.
He stared at himself on this like piece of bronze metal, and he was obsessed with himself because he's so beautiful. Then one day he happened across like a pond or a river or something, and he looked at himself and didn't realize that was basically him. So he tried to like touch and reach himself.
Okay.
And then he drowned.
Yeah, he got like too close to the fire type of thing.
Definitely the self-obsession killed him. Where are we going with this?
We started with
trying to...
not knowing what to do or what path to take in our lives because too many options.
Yeah.
That's how we got here.
I mean, because you see all these people doing all these fun, crazy things, and you just think, oh yeah, I want to do that because that looks cool. But then it's like, do you actually want to do that? Because do you actually want to go through the process of learning and struggling every single day to do that? You know, everyone and their mom are like running a marathon now. And then you think like, oh yeah, I want to run a marathon too. Which like maybe you actually genuinely do, right? But everyone just have these reels of, wow, see, like, I crossed the finish line. And it's only a few seconds. And But then in reality, running is hours of running.
Yeah. I've learned, because I want to do that, and I've learned, like, yeah, it takes a lot. I think the real dopamine is when you complete something, like a goal.
Yeah.
That's where the real dopamine hits.
But, okay, yes, that is the real dopamine, is if you actually commit to complete something. You show up, you're consistent, you stay even when it's hard, and then you finish it.
Because we're doing that less and less, because like what we're saying, like it's instant, everything's instant.
Well, yeah, because
then when something's hard, it takes time.
Well, also because if we think of our brains, like it's a program, right? You feed it information, that's how it processes and understands things, learns and carries out certain tasks, right? So if you look at these videos of like, oh, I'm gonna watch all these people crossing the finish line of a marathon, your brain somehow like thinks it's gonna be easy. Mm-hmm. You know? Because you only see a few seconds of the running.
You're like, yeah, well, you just gotta go run a race. It's fine.
It's like it's so easy. But in actuality, you don't see any of the background of someone showing up every single day to train.
They're getting up at 5 a.m.
Yeah.
To go on a run.
Yeah, and then having to deal with cramps on the run, leg cramps, and you have to eat healthy, you have to get sleep. Like, there's so many different factors, right? Mm-hmm. People get injured as they're doing marathon training too, and then they have to rest and recover. Then you get setbacks. There's all these things.
It's funny that you bring this up, because I thought about it the other day. I thought about you.
Oh.
And I thought about, like, you know, obviously life changes. We all change every couple of years, at least in my case.
Yes, you're very mutable. In a good way, I mean.
What's mutable?
Like something that is amorphous and changes shape. Like a shapeshifter.
And I was thinking, like,
mutates.
How, I'm trying to figure out how to word this. How you were like, you know, did acting school and was working on acting and going to Hollywood and chasing that, and now your life is just so different. Like, you're in Michigan and you still audition, but you have a 9-to-5, and
I work with numbers now.
And you work with numbers and not artists, and just, I'm trying to figure out how to word this without it sounding bad, because I don't mean it in any sort of way, but I'm like, did Tiffany kind of leave that dream and morph into something more safe or not boring, but almost like what you said earlier, like a little consistent and normal?
I mean, I think that's why I always feel like I'm at a crossroads. I'm wondering am I...
Like, do you still want to be the city hag?
I do. So that's the thing. What's the truth? Is the truth that if you just commit hard enough to the pursuit of art, you can succeed? Or is the truth that nothing in life is guaranteed, even if you put in so much hard work, and that at the end of the day there is a certain degree of luck? Because at a certain point, it's like, yes, we should pursue the things that make us happy, and we should pursue like a creative life, a life well lived, the life of an artist. But at the end of the day, I can't just delude myself into thinking that food is going to drop out of the sky, right? Like, I still need to feed myself. I still need to make money to live, right? Like, or like, you know what I mean? It's like, what's like the truth? Because you see all these people being like, well, you just commit and like it's going to be hard and you're going to struggle, but eventually one day you'll make it.
I think so.
But is that just the people who made it who are telling us this? Are there people out there who have never made it?
Yeah, there is definitely people.
But they still are struggling and trying every single day.
Oh, yeah.
But they can't feed themselves.
There's so many, I mean, especially if we're talking acting, like, there's this show.
Or just any like artistry.
Yeah,
nowadays.
I mean, nowadays, unfortunately, I mean, if you would have asked me that like 10 years ago, I think hard work could have paid off. Nowadays, it's harder because a lot of people are going after it. A lot more are going after it. In my morals, it doesn't matter. It matters what your truth is, whether that's going to be a big income or not.
Yeah.
And that's the hard part, is we gaslight ourselves. Like, I gaslight myself all the time. Like, I'm like, do I love traveling? Of course I love traveling. Why am I asking myself that all the time?
Why are you asking yourself that?
Because then I'm like, it's something about what I see online, and then like some thoughts of wanting to have that consistency and normalcy in a sense, or feeling like I should at a certain point. Then I'm like, do I love traveling? It's like, yeah, it's kind of like, what is the truth?
Or maybe the other problem, and I've been thinking about this too, is like kind of along the same lines of you were saying, like maybe we gaslight ourselves. Maybe we at some point have defined ourselves to be this one type of person. Like, oh, I am an artist, and so therefore I cannot like math, science. This is not who I am.
Yeah.
But then maybe the reality is that we're all extremely mutable, and we're supposed to shift and change throughout our lifetimes.
We
and
are.
have different interests.
Our brains are like clay. If you're like, I'm not good at math, you can be good at math. You just gotta do it.
Yeah.
Essentially, you just gotta like change the way you think.
Right.
And don't just label yourself like that, and give it a shot.
Right. So then I'm thinking like, okay, so maybe it's like, so then along that point of thinking, I'm thinking, oh, maybe it is all right that I'm not actively pursuing. I mean, I'm pursuing acting, but I'm not in LA or New York pursuing acting, you know, and I'm also learning other things too that are not related. So then I think, oh, maybe that's good. Maybe I'm just becoming a more well-rounded whole person.
Yeah.
I don't know, dude. Because then, like, oh, what to do.
Which I agree, because I definitely came back to Michigan and was, like, freaking out a bit. And still sometimes I'm like, ooh, shit, should I be somewhere else doing something else? But then I'm like, no, I've done a lot of healing here. I'm here for a reason. But then it's, like, the hard part is, okay, but then, like, what next?
Yeah, because then it just kind of feels like, well, shouldn't I have this, like you said, what next? So what's the overarching direction?
Yeah.
Right, so what am I doing?
Like, am I aiming to settle down here and
Yeah.
and have, like, you know, a long-term relationship here and start a family here and get roots here? Or am I here temporarily and one day I'm going to be gone again?
Yeah.
It's like, how do you even decide that?
Can you even decide that?
Well, you have to, right? At some point.
At some point you do, but then what if you just change your mind? People change their mind all the time.
And I think that's when fear can get let in, is at least in trusting yourself, because you got to be like, what if I do regret this? Well, then you figure it out.
Maybe it's just that we just have to make a decision and a choice and then see how it goes, and then, what's the word?
Trust that whatever happens, even if you regret it, you'll find your way.
Yeah, because you can always, along the path, change your mind and readjust.
Yeah. So do you genuinely, like, debate this a lot, like what to do next, or do you feel like you have a good idea?
No, I debate it all the time. Just the other day, I was like, I don't know what the heck I'm doing right now. Like, I'm like, what am I actually doing?
But is it like anxiety or an existential crisis? Like, do you spiral, or is it genuinely, what do I do?
Is there a difference?
I think there's a difference.
I think it's genuine. And then it becomes an existential crisis. I definitely have an existential crisis every month. Around that time of the month, you know, because it's, the hormones are high. But, I genuinely am asking the question, what should I do? Because I can't see the overarching through line of my story.
Like, when you're saying when you think of the future, like, you don't see anything?
No.
No?
I always feel like I'm walking, like, on a dark path, and the only light is the street light that's just in front of me. And then everything else is encased in darkness. And so every time I walk, it's only the path just in front of me within maybe a 10-foot radius that is lit.
I mean, so you're in college. I mean, do you view it as once I graduate?
Oh, you mean the class I'm taking now?
Like, are you looking at it as, okay, I'm here and I'm doing this now, and then when I graduate, I'll do something else? Potentially.
I don't know, because sometimes I can't even see the end to what I'm learning right now.
Like, you don't know what it's for?
Yeah, I kind of don't really know what it's for sometimes.
Are you feeling like, because of the statistics with acting and how many people want to do it nowadays, that you had to come up with another plan?
Not really. Yeah, I don't really feel that way. I felt like there weren't a lot of opportunities to act.
Mm-hmm.
in the way that I wanted to.
Okay.
In the very serious way that I wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
For the sake of art, not commercialism.
Yeah.
And because there are a lot of people who want it, right? And there's less opportunities. And so maybe you could say like, oh well, isn't that what you were asking? But I feel that I just got bored. You know, I was bored waiting for something to happen.
Mm.
And I'm not someone who can just like wait around for something to happen to me.
Yeah.
I need to go do something about it.
So then you know you're on a mission.
Yeah. So I thought I need to go and I need to do something. I need to learn something. I need to...
Which I feel like that's more than a lot of people will be able to do. Or say. Or admit to themselves.
Yeah. Wait, what do you mean by that?
I notice more and more lately, people get stuck. Like, they're doom scrolling. They're not improving themselves. They don't really have goals or the next move. They're just kind of like, go to work, come home, doom scroll. Okay. That's it.
Well, trust me, I do get moments like that.
I mean, we all do. We all have moments like that. But I see so many people, like, left there that, like, don't want to improve or grow. So I feel like you're better off than some people are in that sense.
I think you're like that too, though. You're also someone who's always trying to constantly improve themselves and become a better version.
Yeah.
You know, you're always questioning yourself and thinking of analyzing yourself, maybe hypercritically, but trying to find ways to be better.
Who doesn't?
Well, like you said, there are people who don't.
Yeah, that's true.
This is something I was talking to Max, my younger brother, about.
Okay.
But because he and I were saying something similar. He's saying that there's like, he sees people just kind of go through life without doing anything. It's like kind of frustrating. And he kind of said that he doesn't think some people want to improve. I don't think a lot of people actually look at themselves and think about themselves in a critical way.
Mm-mm.
Sorry. I was going to say, that's what I was trying to say to you just, I think, last week. The fact that you are doing the work to examine yourself, asking yourself the tough question of, okay, so, like, what did I do wrong in this situation? How can I improve? What is it that I need to change? I don't think people ask themselves that. You know?
I think because it's, you know the saying, ignorant is bliss?
Mm-hmm.
I think ignorance is bliss in the sense of it's bliss that you don't have to face yourself, face the bad parts of yourself, swallow that pill of, hey, not all parts of me are the best. I've made a lot of mistakes. And I think that's where that comes into play, is it's just, it takes a certain type of person to be able to look in the mirror and be like, you kind of fucked up. And this is what we need to improve. It's a harder pill to swallow.
Yes! Actually, okay, I feel like, and not everyone, I don't think everyone is like this, but I do feel that in general, there is this move in society to self-soothe in the way that you coddle yourself. Have you noticed this?
Yeah.
Because everyone does have that hypercritical voice inside themselves, right? But I've seen this online trend where people, they go too far in the direction of like, oh, that hypercritical voice, you need to not listen to it at all. Like you need to love yourself. You need to love, which, yes, you do need to love yourself. You do need to respect yourself, and you shouldn't be hypercritical of yourself. But also, that doesn't mean you can just lie to yourself. You know, I think people lie to themselves.
It's
getting
interesting,
really heated,
because I was there. I used to be in this mindset of everyone else, it's their problem. I'm losing all these friends and it's their fault. And it's their
you victimize
problem.
yourself.
Yeah, I was very much used to play the victim. And then I started therapy, and that, and then you're forced to face yourself as long as you stick with it.
Yeah.
But I used to be there. I used to remember how I just blamed everyone else.
Yeah.
For my problems. Or, like, I didn't think there was anything, not necessarily wrong with me, but I didn't think any of my behavior, it was almost like, I'm not going to change for anyone. And I see people in that mindset where it's like, I'm not going to change for anyone, and it's like, that's not wrong to be able to learn how to bend.
Yep.
Like, I don't get why people are so, I'm not going to change for anyone. It's like, dude, you can learn how to bend without breaking.
They're just going so far in the other direction, right? So they've been hurt in some way, and they're like, oh, I'm never gonna let myself be hurt again. So I'm not gonna bend for anyone again. But it's like, dude, it's like, yeah, maybe they did something to hurt you, but rarely, honestly, is it just a one-way street.
No, it's
I'm
not.
like, that's just a very rare situation.
Unless they're a terrible person.
Yeah, unless it's like, oh yeah, that person was so abusive, you were so, like, gaslit, you had, like...
Yeah.
But I hear everyone telling me that story, and I'm just like, are you sure? Are you sure it was all them?
Yeah.
Like, are you positive it was all them?
No, I do that all the time. My boyfriend. I'll be like, he'll be like, oh, like, I hate when these people do that, and I'll just look at him and be like, they're not wrong, though.
Yeah.
I think it's you. It's hard for people to do that because it's hard to face yourself. I mean, there's been plenty of days where I come out of therapy or I made a mistake. It feels like the end of the world. Like, it feels like I am so upset with myself that I don't know how to come back for that. We all have those days, and it's so hard sometimes. But it's the results, the long-term results are so worth it to just do the work.
Yep.
Like, the peace you can feel. It's crazy.
Because it's really, that kind of work that you do, it's really, it's actually about yourself.
And there's days as well where it felt like, this is never going to get better, there's no point. But then I'm like, wow, it actually does. It does get better. It's crazy. And it's crazy because we think it's so hard, but it's not.
Yeah. It's only hard in the moment.
In certain moments it's hard.
Yeah.
But, like, not overall.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, guys, it's actually this easy.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's like anything, right? It's like running. at first, that first mile is so horrendous. But then eventually, the more you do it, the more your body adapts. And then you think, oh yeah, why did I think a mile was hard?
Yeah.
Right? And it is worth it.
And it actually just makes it harder. Now I'm just going on a rant, but it just makes it harder in the long term if you don't do the work, because then you're just suffering for no reason.
Oh yeah, and you suffer the same lesson over and over again. Yeah.
Toxic cycle. And you're just mean to people, or like whatever it may be. If like if you just get your stuff under control, it would be fine.
Because you do end up in this self-fulfilling prophecy, right? Where you're like, oh, these people are treating me like this, and I'm angry at them, and I hate them, and it's all their fault. So then you already have your guard up for the next interaction, and the next one, and the next one, and then people actually do start treating you a certain way because you've like forced their hand to.
Yeah.
That is to say, though, I'm not trying to say that people should always beat themselves up for everything. And people shouldn't take accountability and ownership for things that are not their fault.
Yeah.
But I think we need a lot more critical thinking. You know what I mean? We need to sit down and reflect. What did I do wrong in this situation? How can I improve? But also, what wasn't done right by me?
Yeah.
What wasn't acceptable?
What are my boundaries?
Yep.
What did they do wrong?
Yep.
And that's also a hard thing to figure out.
Yep.
At least for me, I don't know about you, but figuring out boundaries.
Oh yeah, especially when you like live not having boundaries for a long time.
Or like, yeah, letting everyone just invade your boundaries your whole life. I'm like, how do I know when it's a boundary and when I'm just like being a little bit ridiculous?
No, yeah, because then you just start getting to the point where, I mean, I felt this recently, where I think I look at my phone like, oh no, I missed some calls. Oh no. But then it's like, well, I was at work and my phone was on silent, you know, or it was on do not disturb, or I was taking a nap. But then I hyperventilate, you know. I think like, oh god, oh my gosh, I missed their call. I need to be available at all times to them.
Yeah.
I need to be able to emotionally regulate their emotions. I am responsible.
not to psychoanalyze, because I'm not licensed.
yeah. No one's licensed here.
I'm not trying to psychoanalyze, but I mean, that's something I struggle with. And what do you think that is for you? That makes you feel obligated?
That's a good question.
Because I know what mine would be in that front. Enmeshment.
What's that?
So enmeshment is like growing up in a house where like you had to be at beck and call type of thing. So enmeshment is like when there's no space and it's just like your needs don't matter. It kind of just the other people's in the space needs matter more.
Yeah.
So then you feel like enmeshed to anyone around you.
Yeah.
That, I think it's a level of people pleasing, and then it's a level of not wanting to be abandoned.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I feel very similarly to that. Maybe with like slightly different in certain
like variation.
Yes, slight variations. Thank you. That's the word. Slight variations.
Or like kind of what we were talking about the other day.
What?
You feel like you want to be the most important person.
That, but not just that. Oh, I need to be the most important person to this person. Because I know that's like, oh, everyone has important people to them, and everyone has other people they can call and go to for help. But I definitely derive a sense of self-worth from it.
Okay.
I pride myself on being able to hold shit together.
Oh.
And so it's,
okay.
if I can't help someone, then it's like, what kind of self-worth do I actually have? Oh, you don't need me anymore? Guess I'm not worthy.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I get that too. Might be good to like channel that more into work.
Yes. Trying to let that go in friendships because it's not very healthy for me or really anyone else.
Does it ever feel like to you? Sometimes to me, it feels like physically painful trying to let stuff like that go.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it feels like I'm ripping a part of my body off.
Yeah. I can't sleep about certain things. I get really stressed out about...
It almost, at times, almost feels like I'm in a toxic relationship, but there's no romance.
You know, yeah.
I'm just a cuck.
I'm just a cuck. Oh, no. I've wondered that sometimes.
Yeah.
You know? Sometimes I think in my mind, I'm like, oh, all the things that I dedicate myself to in the same way that someone does like a marriage or the most important significant thing in their life. Yeah. I just have no degree. You know, I can't separate by degrees. I'm just like, oh, I'm all in. Either I'm all in or I'm not.
Me too.
Like, that's bad though.
And I think I agree with you a bit in the you feel a sense of self-worth. I think when I solve people's problems, or I'm their call when they need the problem solved, I'm like, it's because I'm smart.
I'm so smart. Yeah.
And I can solve their problems for them.
Do you ever get tired though?
All the time. Do you want to know how many unread text messages I have right now? 240.
Dude, I have so many. I can't even tell you how many I have. I don't want to check. I can't check.
You should see, I'll reply to only maybe 5 a day. 5 of those texts.
It actually takes it out of you.
And then they all reply instantly, and then I'm like, I let out the loudest. I'm like,
you're literally like, no, I needed some time. 24 hours. Or 24-hour response period.
Or there's days where I'm on the phone with multiple people for hours, and then I just scream afterwards.
Oh, dude, that's not good.
Because I'm just I'm just drained.
That's not good.
It does take it out of us. I mean, we are literally using our brain power to make sure we take care of other people.
So then maybe, do you feel this way too? There's a sense of self-worth that we derive from it, but also because it is draining. Sometimes I'm literally I don't want this job. I don't want to be there for you. I need to be there for myself, right? Because there's some part of you that is screaming, I'm so tired. Mm-hmm. You don't give yourself that kind of time and energy. What the heck is going on? But why do we still do it? I think the other reason for me, and you tell me if this is the same for you, is that there is a part of me that feels well, since I am now more aware and more
conscious?
Awake, conscious, whatever you want to call it, not to be oh, woo woo, we're so great, but to a certain degree we are, right? So then I feel well, isn't this my job? Isn't this my duty? Aren't I isn't this what I'm supposed to do?
I get the comment I always make is I'm oh, I pay for therapy so everyone can get better. Which I think is the same thing you're saying.
Yeah, I think we are saying the same thing.
Yeah, it's okay, well, we're awake. And these people clearly aren't.
So I honestly kind of feel guilty sometimes. I'm well, if I can do it, shouldn't I do it?
I think so. I do say as well, when I was younger, I didn't have anyone to help me solve my problems. So now I feel I need to make sure no one feels like that.
Yeah. That's that thing too. Being oh, well, exactly. Because you think, if you look at that person, you're oh, crap. That was me, a couple years ago, and I was in a really tough spot.
Yeah, and I didn't have anyone to call, so I should make sure I'm there for them so they don't have to feel like that. But I mean, I've told you this before, is being selfish is not a crime.
Yeah.
Not answering everyone's calls is not a crime.
Yeah. Because the other thing is, at some point, going back to our earlier stuff, we were talking about, you know, like, oh, what should I do next with my life? You require time, energy, and space for yourself to figure that out.
Mm-hmm.
And also then when you decide something and you want to be consistent, you want to stick through it, and you want to commit to something, you need time. You need to give time to that.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you're always giving your time away to other people, where's the time that you're going to need for yourself to accomplish the things that you're trying to accomplish, to take the next steps, to find your overarching direction? Right?
Yeah. And if I'm giving this much time to other people, why am I not giving it to myself?
Yeah. So, okay, so actually what I'm doing is, am I a procrastinator?
Are you
Am
distracting yourself?
Am I distracting myself? Am I just am I solving other people's problems because I cannot solve my own problems?
Damn, probably. That's probably a big truth right there.
Oh no.
I know it's literally a characteristic of mine that I am a procrastinator.
Oh no. Oh no, we just found the answer to this.
Like, I've been diagnosed with fucking procrastination.
Oh no. We asked a question in the beginning and now we got the answer.
Yeah, I think we did. I think we're distracting ourselves from our own lives by, what's the word I'm thinking? By basking in other people's misfortunes.
Yeah.
So we feel better about our own.
Oh shit. I'm kind of a terrible person, aren't I?
No. I don't think there's good and there's bad.
We're not doing it to be like, oh, look how misfortunate you are, little Miss Peggy.
I mean, I don't know. Sometimes I can be a little shit. Maybe I feel that way sometimes.
Maybe everyone can be that way.
I think we all can. We all are our own worst enemies. We're all our own worst critics, but also everyone else's worst critic.
Humans are so complex.
Yeah. I don't know how much longer we're meant to be here, but...
Back to what we were saying. Now that we kind of maybe figure some things out, what do we do?
But it's about acting upon them. That's something I've learned over the years. You can be conscious about things, but it doesn't mean that you actually do something about it.
What does that mean?
And I think that's like a living hell. Well, it's like you'll be conscious about certain behaviors, but you still do them.
Yeah.
You know? It's about getting out of the habit and wanting to. Just being aware of them is the first step.
But then you actually have to do the work.
Yeah.
You can't just be aware.
No, you can be very aware and still not
do anything
about it.
That, I think, is the other major problem that people suffer. They're aware, and then they give up, or they stay complacent.
And I think because of that, because I feel like it's more often that people, even if they're aware of who they are, they don't change. And I feel like a problem that stems from that is they don't think others will either. And then when they do, they don't necessarily accept that change or believe that change or like that change.
Or maybe they also feel bitter that, like, oh, I've changed but no one else did, so I'll just go back to the way I am.
Yeah. But I'm saying, like, from the perspective of, okay, I'm not changing and I don't want to change, but my friend is changing.
Oh, and then they get bitter at them?
Yeah. Either bitter or they don't believe them. Yeah, or they don't
Yeah. They're like, there's no way that's actually happening, just to make themselves feel better about it.
Yeah. Like, they're the same old person they've always been.
Yeah, they're not going to actually change. They're going to fail.
Yeah. Because we don't... And that's projecting that they're not going to change. So why...
we want an excuse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We want an excuse not to change.
So I guess we should just continue to do our best and also hope the best for others. And take action, but don't box ourselves and allow ourselves to change our minds and
I think
develop organically.
I think as long as you keep, as everyone, you know, including ourselves, as we keep doing the inner work and learning to love ourselves more and more and stop habits we don't like more and more and learn things and not put ourselves in a box and like
hold ourselves accountable,
expand, as long as you can do that and do the inner work, your path will just fall
Unfold.
in front of you. Unfold in front of you. Because the more I'm learning to love myself. I feel like the more I get an idea of who I am and what I want in certain aspects.
Yeah. You sometimes have to do a lot of things to figure out what you actually like or don't. And then when you do like something, maybe if you continue to follow it, opportunities will eventually present itself along that path.
And something I've been trying to do is, when you think of something, especially something that would make you more comfortable, like let's say you're in bed and you're like, oh, like really, this is just something small, it's a small example. You're in bed and you're like, oh, you know what would make this better is if I went and got some snacks. Do it right then. Get up. Or you know what would make this run easier if I just walk back inside and I go grab whatever the fuck. Like, instantly take action in these moments.
Do it right then.
Or like, you know what makes me feel bad is that I didn't go to the gym today. Go. Right then.
That's the moment, yeah.
Go. Yeah. If that's going to make you feel better, go. Do what you need to do it right away to make you feel better. Oh,
I like that.
I'm out with my friends at a bar right now and I just want to be in bed. Go home. Right then.
I like that. That's actually, because then if you do it and you follow through, like, you give yourself that confidence in yourself. You build that confidence, like, oh, I can do it. And then you also break the habit of procrastination. Mm-hmm. So you're like, oh, I can just take action right now in the moment.
And then you also learn, like, oh, I think if I went home right now opposed to stay at this party, I would feel better. But then, like, your shame gets you to stay, so you don't know. But then if you go, you'll know if it makes you feel better to stay at home.
Yeah. It's true. It's very true.
Trust yourself more, and you also don't give yourself the time to feel guilty or
be stuck in analysis paralysis.
Yeah, you just make the decision.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been practicing that, and it's been nice. Some people phrase it as the 5-second rule. So, oh, I should go take the trash out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Up. Go. Yep.
I like that. Do more of that one.
Because at the end of our lives, it's what we didn't do. That's what it's going to be. I've seen it a few times. My aunt said that on her deathbed.
It's like the things that she didn't do.
She was like, I wish I would have done more. I've heard a few other people say that, and according to nurses, that's the most thing people say. I wish I would have done more. Or I wish I would have done more for myself or more I wanted. Like, that's what they say. Most.
I definitely don't want to have that regret.
Yeah. Or even my mom, she said that.
Really?
She said I spent my whole life not doing what I wanted. And now what? What did that get me?
Dang.
Yeah, and I think it's between analysis paralysis and fear that holds us back, but at the end of our lives, what the fuck does that matter? Not to take it to a somber note.
I mean, it's true though. It's really true.
And I think that with you is, yeah, you just kind of what we've talked about before. Just live for you. Don't worry about anyone else.
Yep. Try different things.
Not even the people you see on a daily basis.
Yep.
Not about them.
Yeah. It's actually kind of hard living for yourself.
It isn't, though. I think because of the way society is, it makes us feel that way.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I don't think it is.
Maybe you're right.
Because think about that. It's like what we were talking about, like going back to the social media aspect. Before, we didn't have group chats or group phone calls or FaceTime or always talking to people. We were doing our own thing.
Because we're so connected now, and you see so many different paths before you, and you get other people's experience. I don't want to do the wrong thing.
Nothing's wrong.
That's the thing. Yeah, I guess nothing's wrong. But I'm like, oh, if I have these examples before me, shouldn't I learn from them and, like, choose correctly? I don't want to mess up and waste my time, do I?
But it's getting out of that connectedness.
Yeah.
Like what we're saying, it's getting out of, okay, today, I ain't going to answer any phone call or text. Today's my day. I do that all the time. I'll disappear for a while.
When you do, you can reestablish that connection to yourself and build that confidence in what you actually want. And you can know that it's you.
That's another thing we all forget is kind of what you were saying earlier, where in order to do that work on yourself, you need to sometimes disappear or go mute. Or, you know, if that's for 3 days, if that's for a week, if that's for whatever it is, sometimes there's periods where you just need to really disconnect and go focus on your inner self.
Yeah.
Birds in the nest up there.
Birds!
I wish I was taller. Oh, I think that's the parent, is the one that's yelling.
Wonder where the babies are, if they're in the nest.
Yeah, there might just be eggies in the nest, I think.